That's why I say that it's a professional error as a financial advisor to not mention Bitcoin, to not advise on Bitcoin, and to not propose even a small allocation on Bitcoin, because afterwards you're gonna get those kind of clients that can go to their banks and say, why you didn't mention Bitcoin 10 years ago? I'm leaving that.
Welcome to Ask a Bitcoiner 21 Questions. I'm your host, Saidah Gomez. Today, I have the pleasure to ask Abel, as I would say with my Anglophone accent, or Abel, if we're Francophone, 21 questions. Abel, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Yeah, and I'm good, thanks. And you?
I'm good. Would
Yeah.
you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so I'm Abel Raberin. I'm an international wealth manager. And so I focus on educating other wealth managers and every jobs around wealth management, because there is a lot of jobs like private banks, family officers, these kind of guys. And I educate them about Bitcoin.
Very nice, very nice. And where are you from?
So I'm born in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, but I'm
Nice.
French, and I came to France in at 3 years old.
At
So
three
I
years
speak,
old.
yeah,
Very nice. And we met as well at the Geneva Bitcoin meetup.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we're going to get to asking 21 questions. So the goal is to get through 21 questions in 10 minutes. Some people do it, one person did it.
Oh
And
wow,
yeah, and lately I've had people who are geared up. They really want to get through the 21 questions in 10 minutes.
okay,
However, there's always a question that just sort of releases, passion, and we want to speak a bit more. So it's
yeah,
not always possible to get through 21
yeah,
questions, which is no big deal. You play it however you want to play it.
yeah. I mean, I'm more like a calm person, so I like to take my time. So yeah, 10 minutes,
Oh,
it's not gonna be a thing for me. 10 minutes is impossible.
there's so many places I could go with that comment, but I will not because I'm a respectable married woman.
I didn't see it coming.
Okay, so I've got the timer right here,
Mhm.
10 minutes, and I will read the first question and then I will start the timer.
Okay,
Ready?
yeah.
Oh, yes, and the questions are asked in random order. You saw them beforehand, and there is one surprise question. So I swapped out one question for
Oh,
a
okay.
surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Okay. Oh, nice one to start with. First question. Can you say not your keys, not your coins in French?
Si tu n'as pas tes clés, tu ne possèdes pas tes cryptos,
Tes
tes bitcoins,
crypto? Crypto ou Bitcoin?
tes bitcoins.
Nice. Next question. What made you decide to specialize in Bitcoin?
Oh, so when I did my master degree in wealth management, I saw how flawed the system is, and the
Hmm.
financial system is really broken. And even after 5 years in college doing economics and wealth management, I didn't see how to invest properly. So there is absolutely no financial education whatsoever. I know that might surprise some people to think that someone who does
Wealth
like
management. Yeah.
wealth management, and so I did my master in Paris. So you need to know that in France, when you do wealth management, you spend most of your time on doing fiscal optimization and this kind of
Okay.
thing. So it's more,
Like
it's
taxes and
taxes and stuff. Yeah. And so taking care of the inheritance and these things. So it's not about financial education at all. And even the investment opportunities were, I would say, not ethical, not moral enough for me. So the very wealthy can get to some good products, but for the rest of us, there is no such thing as good, easy investment. So that's why I decided to go on Bitcoin at the beginning.
So in terms of wealth management, what value proposition does Bitcoin bring to your customers?
Oh wow, there is so much things to be said here, but the main thing, so my clients are other wealth manager, family offices, etc. It's
Okay.
not
Yeah.
particular clients, but for them, Bitcoin appears like a godsend. Because in traditional finance, if you can maintain the value of a portfolio, it's already great, and so their standard is the inflation rate. So for example, it's 2%. If they offer more than 2%, they're winning for them. So when they offer like product at 6, 7%, it's like a dream thing. And Bitcoin arrives and it's 40, 50% a year. And so it's now professional error to not allocate a portion of the portfolio in Bitcoin. It's ridiculous. So there is that, and also the fact that Bitcoin offers an edge against inflation, because like I said, they say it's 2%, but for me it's more 15, 20% in real terms. So there's nothing that's gonna be easier for them than to adopt Bitcoin in a portfolio strategy. And also the strategy that you can put in place with Bitcoin is the easiest one, and it's the best one, is the dollar cost average. So it's like it's really simple. You don't have to monitor the portfolio every 10 seconds just to say you've done something. So yes, I think that's the main value proposition that Bitcoin has for wealth managers.
Nice. If we go over the 10 minutes, I'll have follow-up questions on that for you. Alors, passons à une question en français. Quelle est la meilleure ressource sur Bitcoin pour les francophones débutants?
Should I respond in French or English? I think
French.
it's Oh yeah?
Yeah. Parce que
Okay.
c'est pour les francophones, donc en français.
Ok. Donc le meilleur éducateur français qu'on a, pour moi, c'est Roxy. Et il a créé Découvre Bitcoin il y a quelques années. Donc pour moi, c'est les meilleures ressources qu'on ait. Et il s'est associé avec Lugano Plan B il y a quelques temps pour créer The Bitcoin University. Donc vous pourrez avoir accès à tout son contenu, mais dans plusieurs langues. Et
Ouais.
donc je pense que c'est une des meilleures pages. Ensuite, j'aime bien aussi How to Bitcoin. C'est des potes à moi en plus qui le font.
Ouais.
Alex et Victor qui sont ici aussi. Donc ils ont un site plus une page YouTube et ils sont en train de créer une application pour s'entraîner à faire des quiz. Donc un peu sur le même principe que Roxy, parce que Roxy il a mis en place aussi des examens où on peut vraiment s'entraîner à évaluer son niveau de connaissance sur Bitcoin. Donc c'est génial. Et ensuite, ben, les livres, tout simplement les livres. Moi en tout cas c'est comme ça que j'ai fait. C'est peut-être un peu trop technique. Certains livres sont un peu trop techniques pour ceux qui n'ont pas eu de background en économie, finance. Mais voilà, le Bitcoin standard, les talons Bitcoin, le
Ouais.
fiat standard, tout ça, ce sont des musts pour vraiment
Ouais.
comprendre.
Très bien. We're going back to English now.
Let's go.
So you've studied economics and wealth management. How do your classmates and colleagues react to Bitcoin?
So my classmates, they were laughing at me. They were like,
Yeah,
"Why do
I
you
relate.
bother?" Oh yeah, the struggle. Yeah, they were laughing at me like, "Why you bother spending time studying Bitcoin?" And so yeah, they didn't want to know anything about it. And for my colleagues, it's more about the fact that their bosses, their model, don't want to talk about Bitcoin, or they say Bitcoin is a scam. For example, in finance, you look at the huge investors like investor or economists like Nassim Nicolas Taleb, for example. He's a great economist, and he doesn't get Bitcoin. So for people in finance, they're like, okay, if he says that it's not worth it, I'm not going to spend my time on Bitcoin. But when you go take a beer with them, they're like, they start to vent about everything about the financial system. It's like, it's bad. We understand we sell bad products, etc., etc. And so they understand the pain they have, and at the end they start, what is your Bitcoin thing, and some questions. So we'll see. We have to be patient.
What is something we'd be surprised to know about you?
I think people who follow me on my socials, they see that I only talk about Bitcoin. So they might think that Bitcoin is a huge thing for me, and this is the most important thing. But for me, I'm more on self-development, and spirituality, and all of that is way, way more important than Bitcoin. And so that would be the surprising thing, I think.
This is the surprise question.
Okay.
How was surfing Bitcoin in Biarritz?
Oh, wow. This is a hard one. So for me, how do you say, real event, in-person event are the best
In real
for
life,
me.
yeah.
Real life, yeah. They're the best because you get to meet people, and Bitcoiners are just great, and we always have a good time and great conversations. But I didn't like the conferences. I can really see that the people behind the event, where the money is, basically, they try to control the narratives. And so, yeah, I try to put myself in the position of someone who's new to Bitcoin and went to that event. I wouldn't even invest in Bitcoin, I think, to be honest. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it was bad in that sense, and I think Bitcoiners recognized it, and they will have to do better next year. But I know that's hard for these people to try to create conferences and
That's
10
time.
minutes. Wow. Wow. No, that goes too fast. No, that goes too fast.
Well,
I'm too slow. I don't know.
1, 2, 3. You're not too slow. 4, 5, 6. You got through 7. But it's it's not easy. But continue with surfing Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to create educational content for beginners in only 3 days.
Yeah.
And on the 3 days, you have like 1 day for Bitcoiners and 1 day for wealth managers like me. So you're left, So you're left with half a day to speak to beginners. And so they tried to put a movie, and it was like the scams around crypto, and it's NFTs and whatever. And I was like, what? It's a Bitcoin event. So
yeah. It's always difficult. Like, there's business, you're running an event, you're looking to not, experience losses. And then there's Bitcoin, and it is very difficult in a Venn diagram to find that sweet spot. Very, very hard. Yeah. And the empathy you show in putting yourself in their position, I think is good. It's valuable.
Yeah. I think I'm in the, I would say I'm in the best, I'm in the same position as them, because I try to find also business model that
Mm-hmm.
are ethical and moral and try to respect the philosophy of Bitcoin, and it's really, really, really hard. So yeah,
It is.
I get it.
Yeah. How many languages do you speak?
Oh, I only speak French, and yes, I even take a private lesson in French to really master the language because I don't think there is a lot of people who really
Uh-huh.
master French.
That's
It's a
true.
really hard language, and to really master it, you need some time. And I speak
Hmm.
English, but yeah, I do a lot of mistakes. And I'm born in Ethiopia, so I probably listen or heard some Amharic, but I don't speak it.
Okay, I'm cheating again because this piques my interest. Your parents didn't speak Amharic to you when you were growing up?
I was adopted to a French
Oh,
family,
okay.
so
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
I need to learn on my own when I go there.
Yep. You is Olivier Rousteing, the head designer of Badman, is he Ethiopian as well? I
I
saw a
don't know.
movie on him, I want to say like 2 years ago, and I believe he was adopted.
Okay, I don't have the reference.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I'll send you a message.
It's luxury brand,
Yeah,
but
Badman,
yeah.
it's I mean luxury. That's a whole other can of worms in terms of what is true luxury.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
you
And this
know,
is
hand
true, or this is not?
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
enough about the company to know whether it's true luxury, but he is the head of Bedma, and he seems like a really cool person too.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so how do you see the wealth management industry evolving over the next 10 years?
Um, if I try to think about Bitcoin and what role Bitcoin will play, I think we have to understand that the wealth management industry and the finance in general is has a huge network effect. And
Mm-hmm.
so these industries are moving at a really slow pace, and it will, for me, take decades before they really understand it and try to implement Bitcoin in a portfolio strategy. So I don't think in 10 years we will have um, huge differences, perhaps like in United States for since a few months they're forced to put 2% allocation of Bitcoin in pension fund or this kind of thing. So that's already great and good, but I think it will stay not invisible, but it's not going to be revolutionary, I think, in 10 years. Not in that space.
And in Europe, in this
Oh, wow.
geographic zone, or
Yeah.
like
No, no.
globally?
Um, yeah, well, I was talking about more Europe and United
Okay.
States.
Yeah.
I think Asia is perhaps more advanced, so it's going to be easier for them. But in Europe, it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of time from.
So I've seen you post sort of like fitness or what I consider fitness related content on Instagram. So can you share a little bit about your fitness routine and how it helps you stay energized and focused in your daily life?
Oh yeah. So I was a professional, high-level professional athlete in the past. So I
Hmm.
train now 6, 7 times a week. I do two boxing sessions and four full body workout. And I try to, yeah, implement different style. So I do some cardio because I go to the gym by running and back. And yeah, 6, 7 times a week. And I love to listen to Bitcoin podcasts. So I probably spent like 1,000 hours listening to the Michael Saylors and everything, Jack Matters and all of that, Robert Butler. And this is a great, probably one of my favorite way to listen to Bitcoin podcast. So perhaps I can, maybe I can influence some people to go to the gym just to listen to this podcast. I don't know. We'll see.
What's your favorite type of music?
I love Afro beats because I love to dance. I also like kizomba, zouk, compa, these kind of songs. And since I dive into Bitcoin, you have to know that Bitcoin came in my life at the same time as I grew spiritually. So it was like 2 or 3 years ago. And so the more I became self-aware and conscious about things in general, about life and about Bitcoin, it helps me understand Bitcoin more profoundly. And I started to see, I don't know if you know, it's like Nikola Tesla, who said that when you start to see life through vibration and frequency, your life changes. And so I started to listen more of good vibration, so classical music a lot. So I work, for example, with classical music, and it's kind of funny that it's related. For me, there is no separation. The spiritual, the physical, the monetary, everything.
Alignment.
Yeah.
In the world of wealth management, are there discussions about Keynesian, Austrian, or other schools of economics?
Now, this is the subject that I get angry with, because you gotta know that in wealth management there is only Keynesian economics, because everyone has done the same studies as me. So we went to the big university, the big schools of economics. So they only teach Keynesian economics. So in the head of wealth managers, there's nothing else. Like, this is economics for them. And so when you try to talk to them and explain them the Austrian School of Economics, the Mises, the Hayek, etc., you oftentimes go against them. And so you have the clash of the century between Keynes and Hayek, and so they're just going to say exactly what they heard about that clash, and it's really superficial. Like, we cannot get too deep. And so what I like to do in those contexts is to ask them some questions, and I see in their answers that they give me exactly what I want. And so, for example, I do that also with Bitcoin, and so they are the one giving all the good properties of Bitcoin. I'm like, you just said it.
Not realizing it.
But yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
It's fascinating because I find that in many instances, so it's a game. If all the actors think and behave a certain way, then you may see a self-fulfilling prophecy until the system really starts to crumble. And I believe that for the most part, myself included, it is difficult for us to actually admit and see how things are operationalized, how things are playing out in real time. And so even my question, Keynesian versus the Austrian School of Economics, instead of being so high level and theoretical, I find that if we were to find a way to keep it very real and pragmatic and see how things play out, maybe these debates wouldn't be relevant.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's funny because when I talk to, for example, you have wealth managers who build themselves, they build their businesses without going to the big university.
Yeah.
And so for them, it's way easier to explain them the both, because it makes so much sense to speak about the Austrian School of Economics. It's like just real life. And so for them, the conversations are far easier than young guys who just left college 2 years ago and they've been brainwashed to it. Keynesian school, so economics.
Yep. How did you discover Bitcoin?
So I discovered Bitcoin because I received some money back in the days, and I was like, how do I invest that money? And like I said, like I had no financial education whatsoever with my degrees, so I orange pilled myself with movies, documentaries, books, and that's how I ended up going deep into Bitcoin, basically.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was 2017, at the beginning of my Bitcoin journey, I ran into, I want to say her name is Sarah. She used to organize meetups and talks at Impact Hub here in Geneva. And she gave a presentation, I think it was either on Bitcoin or blockchain more generally. And afterward, I went up to her because I just finished business school, and I was like, how do you know all of this stuff? Like, what's your material? And she said the internet. And when she said that, I was like, that's not legitimate. That is not a legitimate source. I didn't say that out loud, but that was my first reaction. Meanwhile, she has tremendous experience in finance. She is a professional, very intelligent. And so I didn't doubt her as an individual. But when she cited her source, I thought, like so many different pieces and different aspects of my life started to come together. And I thought, you know what, maybe I need to like let go of this information is only legit when it comes from this source mindset, and open my perspective to see what else I could find.
So I think we have we don't have the same beginning. So you went to a live event, and then you dive into your research, and I've done the opposite.
It actually happened, and so in 2016, I went to Silicon Valley with a group within my business class. We were pitching an art startup to some venture capitalists in Silicon Valley.
Oh, wow.
And so we're going through different business models, different value propositions, in Geneva. That's my Fringlish coming in. Geneva. We have, what is it? Les Pauvres Francs, where it's basically, you know what it is. People store a lot of things. It's tax-free. Yep. So you can have containers with a lot of artwork, and it sits there for tax reasons. You would know.
Isn't that the Tenet movie about
the which movie?
Do you know Tenet from Nolan, Christopher Nolan?
No, but I think I need to know it.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I love movies, by the way, but it's a great movie, and they talk about the stories about Paul Franc.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I'm going to watch that. And so someone mentioned blockchain, and one of my group members, who is from Prague, was like, that's not what blockchain was made for. And I was like, whoa, like, how come his reaction is so strong? But, we had goals while we were there. We had limited time. And so, I didn't quite focus in on what he was saying. And at the same time, it was after Occupy Wall Street, and my father, who traditionally was very much into gold, he never spoke about the Austrian school of economics, and he never used the term low time preference, but he always spoke about saving, about so what Ray Dalio would call like second and third order effects. He wouldn't use those terms, but he would instill the importance of not gallivanting, of sitting down, of planning, of saving. And he discovered Max Kaiser and Stacy Herbert on the Kaiser Report. So on the one hand, I go on this trip pitching to VCs. On the other hand, my dad, for I want to say maybe 2 years or something, I was really busy. Sai, you need to watch the Kaiser Report, so all of these things. And then I started watching the Kaiser Report. And I was like, whoa, are they allowed to be saying these things,
The Kaiser Report, it was a podcast, or it was a magazine or something?
It was, you missed Glory Days. So it was like a news report, a show.
Okay.
Max Kaiser is a former Wall Street trader. His wife, Stacy Herbert, produced films and documentaries and stuff. And they worked for BBC, producing content always related to money in the financial system. They worked for Al Jazeera, and then they had their show on RT. When they were on RT is when I started to tune in. Also separately, they produced documentaries and stuff. I'll get a list of their content and I'll share it with you. And so
I met them in person.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
They're so great. But yeah.
But it was amazing because they really focused in on the financial system. So I learned about the Cantillon effect when they mentioned it, and then I researched it further. They would have Saifedean Ammous on before he published the Bitcoin Standard, when his hair was a bit longer and like curly and stuff.
I never see that.
Oh, if you search YouTube. So it was like, I saw Saifedean Ammous, and then he came out with his book, which I bought, immediately, which was really good. So through them, I learned about so many different Bitcoiners. I learned a little bit more about the cypherpunks. I then went in and read some cypherpunk literature. And so they really they were almost like a storefront that exposed me to gold bugs, some of which I follow now to understand their perspective. They exposed me to cypherpunk. Like, I think I saw Adam Back on the Kaiser Report. I think so. Nice. For the first time. And so they, for me, were just, the perfect window at that time, given the sequence of events, plus other things. I mean, I remember in the beginning speaking about Bitcoin and a colleague going to a bank, I won't mention the name of the bank, their wealth management services. And this was like a long time ago. And him coming back to me, we went for a coffee, and he was like, Saidah, what you're saying is like total BS because my banker said this and whatever. And are you sure you're okay? And I was like, I mean, the fiat price of Bitcoin at that time was relatively low. I have not...
the fiat price, it's a good formulation.
Pardon?
It's a good formulation to say the fiat price.
Oh, yeah. It was relatively low at that time, and I have not contacted him to say, are you happy with the advice that your banker gave to you? But yeah, I'm sorry for going off on a tangent.
No,
that's asking you 21 questions.
No, but that's absolutely great, because that's why I say that it's a professional error as a financial advisor to not mention Bitcoin, to not advise on Bitcoin, and to not propose even a small allocation on Bitcoin. Because afterwards, you're going to get those kind of clients that can go to their banks and say, why you didn't mention Bitcoin 10 years ago? I'm leaving. And that's going to be a real thing. It's starting right now.
And full circle moment, why is this little person on the internet in a better position than I am when I pay you fees to give me good advice to manage my wealth? And this little teenager is now like, a Satoshi billionaire.
But we have to understand that the interests are not necessarily aligned between banks, wealth managers, and investors or the end clients. And so, for example, you mentioned gold bugs, for example. We know that gold can be, even as a small allocation, a good idea in a portfolio. But since it's not directly managed, except through an ETF, wealth managers are not going to propose it. And that's the same thing that's happening with self-custody. So I go to wealth management company, and I make some conferences there to explain them Bitcoin. And so I talk a lot about self-custody, but they're like, but self-custody, we don't own anything. The money is not in our possession. So clients will just go at some point and we lose money. So you need to come back with a with a plan where we all win, basically. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah. What does your family think about Bitcoin?
I mean, I have the chance to have an open-minded family. So I would say they allow me to talk about Bitcoin. They allowed me to mention Bitcoin, and I bought the Bitcoin standard to my dad. But it takes time, and they don't really understand it, because in the first time they have to understand money, and money is something
Yeah.
that is really hard to grasp, and it provoked on people some emotional reaction.
Yeah.
So I need to be passionate and go with the flow. I prefer to just be passionate about what I do in my personal life, and they can see from afar. I prefer that approach. It works better than the toxic approach I used to do.
You're very mature,
Thanks.
very grounded. So you navigate the space in English and in French. How does language or culture shape a person's understanding of Bitcoin?
Um, I think this is probably the most important aspect. Language is the most important thing we need to. Language and culture is the most important thing. And so, for example, that's how I learned English. It was with Bitcoin books, Bitcoin podcasts, movies, etc. And so that's how I've been orange pilled. But I see that for my friends who only speak French, we don't have yet in France good role model or good economists or good thinkers, philosophers about Bitcoin. And so all we have is some guys who talk about crypto in general,
Yeah.
and they end up being scammed. And it's all because of the language barriers, because they don't access the good information, the good sources. And so I have a good friend now that started Consensus. So Consensus is a company who dedicated to translate Bitcoin books in France
Oh,
and in French.
excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good resource.
Oh, yes.
That's an excellent resource. And so yeah, I think language is really important.
Yep. That's excellent. I would like to ask your friend 21 questions if
Oh, okay,
they're willing,
Edouard.
because
Yep.
I studied translation in my undergraduate, so it'd be
Okay.
cool to, from like maybe a totally geeky,
Yeah, that's
linguistic perspective. No one will
and
like it,
and
but
and he actually has the exact same. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but he has the same background as me. So we've done the same economic studies and wealth management. But as you see, he prefer talked about Bitcoin.
yeah. So I've interacted with a few people in the wealth management industry. In my experience here in Geneva, Bitcoin is not yet part of their services. You've touched upon this. Why is that?
Arrogance.
Oh,
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 no,
oh.
there is yeah, I'm pretty direct. Huh? There is multiple things. First, the first barrier to Bitcoin is the level of the level of education you need to have before you start understanding just the surface of Bitcoin. So we say, I think it's Michael Saylor that says that we need at least 100 hours. And so, the fiat world are short-term oriented, so they have a high time preference.
Yeah,
And so to tell them you need to spend 100 hours on your free time study Bitcoin,
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
going to do it. So this is the first barrier, education, and as I said, arrogance, because in the wealth management industry, especially in Geneva, in Switzerland, it's on It's superficial. It's perceived value more than real value. So if they start to talk about something like Bitcoin and all they've heard is there is scams, etc., they don't want to entitle their images to that thing. And so they're pretty hard to convince. And I think in the wealth management industry in Geneva, there is only one private bank who propose Bitcoin, and I don't even know if that's self-custody or ETFs bullshit. So it's gonna take time, but that's my answer.
So outside question again, with the announcement of the Zurich Cantonal Bank offering services, Bitcoin or crypto services. So there's already Zug in Ticino, so where there's Lugano, there's already like a growing industry. Will it finally trickle down to Geneva, or will the wealth management industry here try to sort of differentiate itself and say we're just traditional finance, and all the other Swiss cantons, like everyone else, all the German speaking part of Switzerland will focus on Bitcoin and crypto, and Geneva will just be traditional?
It's possible. I mean, there is great benefits of having a country like Switzerland that is extremely decentralized, but there is also the fact that some canton will do what they do, and Geneva wealth management space is really well known to be traditional. That's their brand. So if they start going too much technological or too much crypto, I think it's bad for their images. They try to keep it traditional, and perhaps every canton will go way faster than Geneva.
Yep. Oh, here. So we're moving out of wealth management and Bitcoin directly. It's a question about dating.
Oh.
Does your partner need to be a Bitcoin enthusiast?
Yeah, it's a must. It's a must. No, but before I go on with that, I never had a relationship, so that's not relationships advices. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But I seem to not be able to stop talking about Bitcoin, and for me it's already a struggle to not talk about Bitcoin with my family and close friends, etc. So I don't know if I want to to not be able to mention Bitcoin in my relationship. I mean, I don't think she has to be Bitcoin enthusiast, but she definitely needs to be open-minded, or at least in the same direction to changing the world. And I see that people who want to change the world, like people in who does like political science or this kind of things, or lawyers, etc., they start to ask me questions about Bitcoin because it makes sense. You see, that's the kind of people. So yeah, just open-minded, and that I just can be able to talk about Bitcoin.
Yeah. And I would imagine if one were to self-custody at home without a multi-sig setup, like let's say they have a relatively small stack, I would imagine that dating could be very complicated because you don't know at which point you can trust a person in your home.
This is a huge subject.
They don't even have to stay there for a week. Like when you're sleeping, you don't know.
Yeah. Just imagine they burn the seed phrase, or I don't know. But it's funny, but at the same time, it's a huge subject. And for me, that's something I'm gonna go deep on, and not just for relationship, but like roommates. You know, you live with some roommates and you have a single wallet. That's for me extremely risky, and not even in the even the Bitcoiners don't have for me the right amount of security. So yeah, it's a huge subject, and I think that's something in relationships, but communication is key. So perhaps educate and communicate, and but this, like you said, the single wallet for me is not the right proper setting, or at least perhaps if you cut your thing in two different places and some strategy, but
and
you
then
need to
they
do something.
can't know what your strategy is either. What obstacles do the wealthy see in terms of holding or using Bitcoin?
So there is multiple things there. The first thing is the technical aspect of Bitcoin. So learning to manage self-custody for the clients, to explain self-custody to the clients, or to do self-custody with multisig, because that's something also that is going to happen. And for me, that's way better than ETFs. Because again, like I said earlier, the fact that wealth managers don't really study Bitcoin is because they don't see the business model where they're gonna profit from that, and they don't want to lose their customers. But for me, there is now a competitive advantage, and that's back to the game theory of Bitcoin. That's another small game theory there, where wealth manager who understand Bitcoin will have a competitive advantage. And so if they really understand Bitcoin, I believe that they will profit way more than on any other product, because for me, Bitcoin is the best asset ever created, and we benefit from the fact that we are here pretty early. So that's even a bigger thing. So yeah, I would say the technical side and the financial business model side.
Yep. Pick one of the following and explain your choice. Stack and hodl, mine, or invest in a Bitcoin mining company.
So I would want to say mine. I want to say mine because if you're mining Bitcoins, you are experiencing the best DCA possible, because DCA is way better if you reduce the time. And so if you mine, you are DCA every day. So over the long term, you have the best, you profit the best from the growth of Bitcoin. At the same time, if you mine, and if you're smart enough, you will respect the philosophy of Bitcoin. So you will do it in a way that is decentralized. So you can use, for example, Ocean. I don't know if you heard about Ocean.
Oh, yes.
So that's really important. Ocean is a way to decentralize the mining. And so you can connect your mining rigs to that pool of mining. And so that's decentralized. So you are securing the network, you are decentralizing the mining, and you are profiting with the best DCA possible. So you are winning in every area, but we have to understand that there is some operational risk that are huge in mining, and this is one of the most competitive industry in the world. So you would have to either choose the right company that's not gonna die, or choose the right location, because the company can leave, but the location of your mining rigs get stolen, and etc. So in theory, I would say mining, but in practically, I prefer to say just stack and hold, just stack and hold, and you don't have to face all of that. Just be able to, like we said before, be able to stack correctly and manage your self-custody and put in place an inheritance strategy, etc. And you're set. You're in the best position. I think Bitcoiners at the end are the best in the best position.
Yeah, yeah. This is the second last question. We're almost done. Oh, it's a long one too. Compare and contrast. Switzerland and France share a border, yet our laws and governance structures are completely different. What are key differences between holding Bitcoin in France compared to holding Bitcoin in Switzerland? So it could be taxes or reporting or something else.
I wanted to take the style of Michael Saylor, so I'm gonna be pretty direct. It's like, if you want to be poor, you stay in France and you stack and hold in France. And if you want to be rich, you stack and hold in Switzerland. That's
Are you calling the French the poors?
no, but there is a difference of mindset that is huge between Switzerland and France. So France is the best country for regulation. We are at the front of regulation. So that's extremely complicated to maintain the value of your savings in general in France. So like I said earlier, wealth managers, they spend most of their time optimizing situations than really creating value. So yeah, I would say the differences are also, if you want to have a good time in France, for example, if you mention Bitcoin, you get laughed at, and because
Oh, really?
because it's, we have a philosophy that is centralizing power, so
Oh,
everything
yeah.
goes to Paris. So if the politicians and the media, with the help of the media, says that Bitcoin is a scam, you will be considered as a terrorist or whatever. And in Switzerland, you have a decentralized country where
Yeah.
liberalism, free trade are the main economic philosophy. So you can do whatever you want if you don't harm anyone. So if you want to pay taxes in Bitcoin in Zug, you can. If you want to pay with Bitcoin in multiple shops in Lugano, you can. And in terms of taxation as well. And in Switzerland, if you're not professional traders, you can just stack and hold and even buy without paying taxes or not too much taxes. And in
Yeah.
France, it's like 30%. So
Is
it's
that the capital gains taxes or taxes on revenues or
no, there is multiple things. So there is the 30% capital gains tax. And if you're mining or if you're staking other cryptos, etc., you are in the category of revenues. So you're highly taxed as well. And now we have some crazy politicians who start to talk about taxing unrealized gains. I don't know if
in
you heard
France
of
as well?
in France as well. I mean, it's getting crazier and crazier, and it's attack on private property. Yeah, so yeah, that's the main differences. I think that's it.
When I studied in France in Rouen, As a student. It was my third year of university. So I went to the French embassy in Toronto, Canada. I did all the paperwork necessary. I had whatever visa or whatever they gave me in my passport. And part of my job when I arrived in France was just to go and get everything validated on the other end, so to speak. And I remember going to La Préfecture in Rouen. I lost count of the number of times I went just to get this thing validated that was already pre-approved, pre-screened, in Toronto by Canada, by the French embassy, so technically France. And like every single time they're like, no, madame, like you need this other paper that says something else. And I'm like, okay, yeah, where do I get that? I don't know what this is. I'm a student. I'm not accustomed to this system. So please help me. No, we can't help you. Go back the next day. The window's closed. There's no one there. Go back the next day. There's something else. So I was like, this was my first trip to Europe. And it was my first trip like for 1 year without family or friends around. Like I went by myself, actually another exchange student joined me but afterward, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna be illegal. I always hear about these contrôles d'identité in France. If I get stopped and they control my papers, maybe I'll be deported, because there's no winning. It seems so, there's so many rules, but the application of the rules just seems so arbitrary. Yeah. And then to contrast that experience where I did everything by the book, but just couldn't finish because of, I still don't know why. When I went to the student housing, the lady, the administrator there, spoke to me about la CAF or something like that, where you get reimbursed. Yeah. And so she said this, and I'm like, oh, no, you don't understand. I'm not from here. I'm a university student. I'm just here for 1 year. I've never paid taxes here. My parents have never paid taxes here. I'm not entitled to this money. And she yelled at me in front of everyone. She's like, c'est votre droit, madame, vous savez. And then she went off on this tangent that I barely understood, because this is my first experience with French administration, and I'm scared of saying and doing the wrong thing. And it was basically, if you don't sign this paper to get reimbursed, I'm not giving you keys to your apartment. And so when I finally spoke to my parents, I'm like, Dad, you'll never guess. You know how because we budgeted like my monthly expenses and stuff. It's like, you know how we budgeted? Well, every month I'm getting back, like, I don't know how much it was, because there's this thing called CAF, and the lady said that I have to take it. And so, like, outside of the world of like being a student and stuff, when I would encounter adults, because we stuck together and we went to like pubs and stuff, everyone was cool. But when I was around adults, they would look at me and my skin color, obviously, and they would talk about like immigrants like you who were like milking off the system. And I'm like, hello, no. Firstly, I'm not an immigrant, so thank you, but no. And then secondly, how can someone who's new to this country milk off the system unless someone from this country tells them what the system is? In Toronto, CAF does not exist whatsoever. On the contrary, students take out, I don't know how many thousands of dollars to pay for university. It is not understood that the state will give you money for your housing. And so I would get into these debates to say, you guys are the ones who are showing people, forcing people to milk off the system. This is not sustainable. This country is going to collapse in one way or another. Yeah. Everyone thought I was crazy at the time, but I was floored. That experience marked me. And I thought, I love Paris. There's so many things that I love. I love like French New Wave cinema. I love a lot of the cultural aspects of France, but in terms of administration and efficiently running a country, I was like, there's no way. Like, there is no way this is sustainable.
It's going to collapse. Oh, yeah. I'm so embarrassed, but yeah, I understand.
It was, yeah.
Crazy experience.
With that, yeah, it was very crazy. So this is the last question, and I think it's a nice one to end off on. If you could orange pill one person, who would it be?
That one. So I thought about orange peeling like a huge politician, like for example Trump or Putin. But then you get into the game theory of Bitcoin, and so you could end up in a worse situation that we're in right now. So my answer would be to orange peel someone like Nicolas Taleb that I mentioned, Nassim Nicolas Taleb, the economist.
Yeah.
Because if I orange peel an economist, then I know that the first people who are going to listen to him are going to be educated people and critical thinkers in general. And so the main the real value proposition of Bitcoin could spread and in a decentralized way, because you can listen to Taleb from different places. And so I think for the game theory and the philosophy of Bitcoin, it would be better if that's the kind of people we orange peel than Trump, for example.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, that's it. We have gone through all 21 questions, and it's taken
Not in
us...
10 minutes.
No.
Not at
To
all.
be fair, after the 10 minutes were up, I started to blab a little bit more, so it's on me.
That was great.
Can you let people know again where they can find you on social media or a website or any information you want to share?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram. So I have a pro account that's called Abel Raberin, without separation in the name.
All one
Abel
word,
Raberin.
yeah.
One word and one word. And then you can follow me on LinkedIn, also Abel Raberin. And I have a YouTube channel as well, Abel Raberin, Bitcoin and Wealth Management.
Very nice. Thank you so much for answering 21 questions. And as you have different experiences and different encounters, if there's anything you'd like to share, I'd love to have you back on just to catch up.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna work on some cool things in the next few weeks with some wealth managers, and I would get back to give you the insights.
Oh, I would love that. Have like a wealth management roundtable.
That's good. From Bitcoiners.
From Bitcoiners, yeah, totally. Well, thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.